going to get side by side again. Last time it didn't quite work. Can he make it stick this time? He's not fully passed, but he held on as they swing back in. A little bit of car contact between them. That sends him out. Topi's going to pounce on it. He's going to try and take that second place back as it goes through Brooklyn's tires spinning up as Simone is not willing to give way. He's got the inside back and through, more side-to-side contact between he and his rival. Somehow they come out the other side, but it's still not done, DJ. It's down to cops they go.
Oh, it's really close. Here we go. It's Galindo. He tries to make the move on U-Bluth as they send Hideki Koivisto flying.
Koivisto manages not to hit the wall. I think he's going to be okay, but he's not going to be happy about that.
Galindo, he's going for a braking move on Fabian U-Bluth. He's going to send it deep into turn 7. He's going to be on the inside as they head around the corner. He should have the position, but U-Bluth holds out. They're going to go side by side as they go into the S's.
Oh, can he get this done finally? Chucks it in, but he goes a little too deep. Coming back at him. Here comes Jungbluth trying to take this fourth away. Again, this will tie the points lead. If Aitor can get past him, they're going to run together. Little bit of contact, splitting either side of Marco Lay. Who's going to win the battle down into the braking of the hairpin?
Well, and let's take a look at that. That may have been a mistake there from Jeff Schmeier going for the move. How he kept that out of the side of the number 220 is beyond belief, but amazing car control there from the number 30.
Not close enough to Timo for this lap by. Oh, but look into the first corner. That's for the lead. Kortaniemi on the attack on Partanen, but he's going to be vulnerable as Simone sees the chance. Now that he's slow off the corner, swings around him, and he is through down into Maggots and Beckett's.
And this is where things get extremely complicated. He's going to try and go on the outside, gets pushed out wide into the grass, loses it, and now we're all along for the ride.
Whoa! I know there's a rallycross course here, but this car's not made for that. And he got air, all four wheels off the ground, still kept it out of the barrier and brought it back. That's going to likely cause a little damage to the car regardless, but great heads up by the 16.
He's going to have to go the long way around the left-handed sweeper here. Is he going to be ahead by the time they get into the braking zone? Are we going to see side-by-side for 2 successive laps going through Moss? Little bit of maybe contact there for Ozowski, bumping and banging, banging and bumping as they exit the corner.
Luis Nunez tries to cover it off then. It's going to try and pinch and pinch and pinch as they go towards turn 1, but he'll get just about what he needs. Oh, he has a big moment in the middle, and up and under Jukka Tolonen, experience prevailing.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ride around the world.
I'm Mick Claridge, and I'm going to ride around the world on my bike.
My son, he gave me advice at the start of this ride, and he looked at me and just said, "Dad, don't be a moron."
Let me do my animal signal to gain their respect.
How's it going, Sally?
Yeah, I'm alright, Mick. How's it going?
Worse than that bit in Lord of the Rings, where they go into the top and the spiders in the tunnel. I'm just hoping there's a spider at the top of this one to kill me. Freezing.
And I failed. I moroned up the ride.
We got the frantic race we expected out of Ossersleben, but today returns our drivers to the more traditional fare of the series. Road America is a much more known factor for most involved. However, that may make finding an edge over the quick ones all the harder. Let's see who's fastest at Road America's National Park of Speed as we get ready to watch round 3 of the Camel GT series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Most sports car fans have become pretty familiar with Road America, but in case you haven't heard of it, we have our handy track guide at the ready. Welcome to Road America. Nicknamed America's National Park of Speed, it's easy to see why just by looking at how the track is laid out. Long straights are a major feature, and drivers will build up incredible momentum before they find themselves interrupted by tight 90-degree corners. In fact, for a 4-mile circuit, it has shockingly few turns. It also has little in the way of variation in layouts. The main course is only broken up once with a single chicane added in the bend version. But don't take this to mean that it's a boring track. Elevation change happens many times over a lap, with a few places taking you into corners which are quite blind. But two of the turns on the back half of the course are perhaps the most distinctive. One is the carousel with its more than 180-degree radius. It just feels like it never stops. The other is the kink. Terrifyingly fast with very little runoff, it can end someone's race in a flash. As you'd expect, the heavy braking zones make for some ideal overtaking spots. Turn 5 sees plenty with its downhill entry. The hurried downs can offer drivers a chance at a sneak attack if you're brave, and then Canada Corner gives you one last shot before the lap is over. It's no wonder major organizations such as IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, and the SCCA all host major races here. All in all, many drivers rate this track as the best track in North America. Many who hop in the seat and try it can quickly understand why. Well, Adam, it's going to be tough to try and find an edge, as I implied, not just because of this being a known factor, but also because it's top split today. Tell us about Road America.
Well, as the series that left these cars in the past tackle their 10-hour final round over at Road Atlanta, the Camel Series tackles the other American road course that has road in its title, Road America. This 14-turn, 4-mile, 6.5-kilometer clockwise circuit is known for its long straights and hard braking zones, followed by 90-degree slow-speed corners. This makes this place an absolute bull ring for the Audis, with plenty of paces to pass and many opportunities to battle. We've seen the Audis battle side by side for the lead for multiple laps, even though the challenging carousel and kink that has threatened to burn off the front tires of the Audis. Now, the Nissans, on the other hand, are less at home here due to the slow-speed corners and hefty curbs, but still manage somewhere over 75% full throttle around this lap, which makes passing here very challenging and track position key. And what happens when the Nissans need to maintain track position? Well, they take risks passing the Audis. Expect to see some unceremoniously moved Audis over the course of this race, as well as some nice picks from the Nissan battlers as well, with the most dangerous spots being the kink and Bill Mitchell Bend. But unlike most weeks, this is not a survival race. This is a fight hard because you could win it race. And I'm looking forward to seeing the change in the attitude of the drivers, Joe.
Yeah, I am as well, for sure. Now, and speaking of fighting for the win, if we take a look at the championship, it's been kind of fascinating because of the unusual tracks that they started things off with in those first two rounds. Fabian Jungbluth leads Hugh Haycox by 2 points here at the beginning of the season. James King rounds it out. Now, James has been kind of up there and thereabouts, just making himself a known presence. So watch out for his consistency if he can keep this up, especially today. He could be a real threat to those two. Timothy Reed and Antti Lepisto round out your first five. Lepisto, a bit surprising to see him that far down, but he's been a bit snake bit in these first couple rounds. And that's the prototypes. What about the GTOs here?
Well, the GTOs, Yuka Leskala leading by 3 points over Reed Miller. He was able to climb back into that top spot after entering last round in fourth. Reed Miller, being super consistent, has gotten him into that second position with Ian Haycox down in third. Javier Del Olmo was only fourth because he was not here for the first round, so last round was the only points he picked up and is 13 points behind Yuka Leskala. Simon Daw down in the fifth position, and Andreas Schuster, our winner of round one, down in sixth after not having a good race last race out. Hideki Koivisto, Fabian Seichig, Matthias Hovdal, and Daniel Rapetto round out your top 10 in the GTO driver standings.
Now, for today's race, it's your usual fare here in the Camel GT series. They almost always have 40-minute races for their sprint events, effectively, their regular events. And there's an open setup series. I'm curious to see who's been able to find the straight line speed out of those setups at a place like this. We really need it. No spare car, though. There's a couple spots where the barriers are mighty close, and it's going to be easy to throw away your race because of that. Drive-through penalty at 17 incidents and a complete disqualification at 25 keeps them on the black stuff. And as the qualifying is underway, Hugh Haycox is fast once again, but only barely ahead of Antti Lepisto by 0.02 of a second on the first time round. He crosses right now. A 45.6 is quite an improvement. So Lepisto has a chance to answer here as he's coming around the final corner himself. Leskala is on the provisional pole down in the GTOs. Here we go up to the start-finish line with Lepisto. Adam, let's see if he can take that pole away.
Lepisto crosses the line and does take pole away. Fastest lap by only 15/1000ths of a second. Quite a tight gap between Hugh and Antti Lepisto. That's going to be a battle to watch for sure for the GTP leaders. Jukka Leskala looking like he's taken pole at the moment, but Javier Delamo still has yet to complete that second lap. So very interesting to see whether or not Javier can close the nearly half a second up to Jukka Leskala here.
Yeah, in fact, Leskala is not going to take his second lap, so Javier has a bit of an open goal. Is this going to be better, considering sometimes the tires do good on the second lap? No, they didn't this time. He's 0.2 slower. Saisheg is going to stay in third. He doesn't go quicker. Reed Miller, though, finds some time. He promotes himself up into fifth. That surprises me a bit. I would have thought that maybe the second lap would be the money lap for those Audis.
Usually is, and the temperatures are not too high around here. That being said, it's higher track temperature than air temperature right now by about 4 degrees, and the sun's a little bit low in the sky. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that as we switch over to the race session. That's our qualifying session temps. But look at the wind, Joe. If those winds stay high, that's going to be a problem for our Nissans.
Mibor Faraski finally puts a lap down, but is last amongst the Audis. We're waiting for a lap from Horam Vanish. And, well, that's not going to be a lap because that was off track there. You don't have scheduled pit stops, so him practicing this pit entry kind of means nothing for him. And I think that is everybody. Yeah, that is all of our drivers able to set a time. And Leskala here is not going to be able to complete the second one since his was started. But let's head through our starting grid, and it is mostly Nissans, interestingly, here in the top split. Antti Lepisto is going to be starting on the pole ahead of Hugh Haycox. Hugh had a very fast car last time, but wasn't able to take advantage of it just because of the melee out there at Ossersleben. Can he make up for that today? Timothy Reed will start from P3 as Javier Mascara will be in fourth position. Chris Yankee will be on the inside of the third row. Brian Molitor will be to his outside. Mick Claridge hopping over from joining me in the booth in the Lotus 49s to race here today, starting from 7th, as Xavier Sanchez will be in 8th. And it's Ove Trangarade P9, and the top 10 rounded about by Dustin Heroder. Next slide has Lau Stolson shockingly far down in 11th. Heitor Sintes Galindo, current reigning champion, only 12th today. It's tough out there. Robert Plumley starts from 13th, and Fabian Jungbluth, who leads the championship right now, is in 14th. Aaron Humphrey in P15 will be followed by Diego Mastretta in the 16th position. Next row has Renato Postigo and Yuri Geisen. 18th, Jack Wells starts 19th. Matt Malone is going to be starting from 20th. Isaac Snyder and Carlos Fonseca, last two, did not set a qualifying time.
And we get into our GTOs. Jukka Leskala taking pole position over Javier Del Olmo by nearly half of a second. Fabian Seischig in third position, qualified well last week as well, but got sent by the Nissans about 3 times. So let's see if he can fare better this week. Ian Haycox did a nice recovery last week from this position as well. See whether he can do better. Franco Scurry pips Reed Miller for that 5th position, so Mr. Consistency's moved down to 6th. Timothy Vaughn starting off in 7th position with Jamie Hamill-Smith lining up next to him in 8th. Hideki Koibisto and Doug Cloud round out your final row of the top 10. And then we've got Miro Haraski and Matthias Hovdal, your last drivers to set qualifying times. And we've got Joram van Hickse, who did not set a qualifying time, and will round out your 13 Audis out of 35 cars. That's going to be a problem for the Audis, Joe.
Yeah, it's going to make life difficult, no doubt about that, as they take off on the pace lap. Got a full pace lap around here in Road America, which gives us a chance. I mentioned that we've got Claridge Racing here in the number 7 here today. Don't forget, we have our series we've been running over the course of much of this year called Where is Mick? Where he's been traveling around the world on his bike, obviously on a bit of a break from it right now. But we uploaded our latest episode yesterday on Where is Mick. So go check that out and see where he is now in the world on his various adventures on the saddle. So we come around through turn 3 down the Moraine sweep, and most tracks it's turn 1 that you got to watch out for those big pileups. Here, though, I gotta say it's usually turn 5, Adam, that causes all kinds of issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, the dive down to turn 5 is a really challenging braking zone, because right when you want to brake, it dips away from you just a little bit. So a lot of drivers lock up their rear tires going over that bump, and then that can just send them straight off. So going to be very interesting to see how the drivers handle that. Now, one thing to note, because of the large GTP field, the GTO's track position is going to be key for them. They're going to want to do all the battling possible before the GTPs get back and lap them, because once that starts to happen, that's going to separate pretty much all of our battles in the GTOs, such that we're probably going to see gaps of 3 or 4 seconds. So if you want to get the lead of the GTOs, you're going to have to do it in the first 2 to 3 laps before the GTPs come back through. Otherwise, you're going to be left stranded, as some GTPs are going to cut you up and likely lose you some good time.
So you can see them coming down the hurry downs. There's a huge drop in elevation change here. It really doesn't quite show here in the sim. But I can tell you from real life that that comes downhill relatively steeply through there before the braking into turn 8. And then it continues to drop now through the carousel towards one of the lowest parts of the track, down into the kettle bottoms. And the drivers are going to have tons of speed in the Nissans here. I wonder what it's going to be like as the race goes on as well, Adam, because we've seen those Nissans try to maybe at times go around the outside, but once those marbles build up, is that going to be too dangerous?
I think the Nissans are going to have the downforce to do it. The real question is, what kind of risks are they going to take here through the kink? This is where a lot of incidents happen, because the speed differential between the Audis and the Nissans here can get upwards of 40 miles per hour. At that speed, it's hard to judge the distances, whether you're on flat panel or in VR. Even in real life, it's hard to judge the distances when the speed is that great. We've seen collisions happen there in multiclass racing many a time on this track, so likely to see it again.
We got a couple onboards for us today here that we're hopefully get a chance to check out. Here's Doug Cloud giving us his VR set ready to go. And then Ian Haycock's back once again, showing his setup. And finally, Laust Olsen showing his onboard as is usual. Will the pucker cam be out just as much at Road America, despite the long straights, to give the Nissans that chance to get through the traffic? Here we go. Pace car is already out of the final corner. Antti Lepisto leads the way. Hugh Haycox has already taken 1 win so far this season. Can he make it 2? Green flag is out. Lepisto with a great jump as they fly down towards turn 1. Timothy Reed has got a huge slipstream off of Hugh Haycox, but he backs out early. Looks like he wants to try and get to the finish of this race instead. Mosquera might be able to take advantage, but no, he's going to slip back to 4th himself. Don't see any issues out of turn 1. Let's go to the GTOs.
A nice jump for Yuka Lescala over Javier Del Olmo. Fabian Seischig actually got a better jump on the inside of the corner. Looks like Fabian Jungbluth had a problem in the GTP, so we'll get back to that in a moment, but it's almost 3 wide as they dive into turn 1. That is Javier Del Olmo stuck on the outside with Ian Haycox on the inside, trying to take away the 3rd position.
Yeah, we'll get to that replay on Jungbluth in a bit. He had a couple hits there, unfortunately, into turn 3. Meanwhile, as the GTOs fly down the Moraine sweep, Leskala over Saisheg and Del Olmo in third. Now, Javier, current reigning champion, has had the pace to keep up with Yuko quite well recently. Question is, can he now overtake Fabian here in this number 3 car? Someone going wide. Franco Scurry looks like he had a bit of an issue. The Italian returning to the track, but many positions down.
He's also returning to the series after a little bit of a break, so that's probably why he's a little bit rusty on the first lap. Remember, the cold tires around here are going to be a real problem for the Audis. Back up to the GTP lead, though. It was side by side, actually, as they went through turn 5 and 6. A little bit of a slip up there for Chris Yankee as he goes through in P6. But look at this, a nice move to the inside. Going for the lead is Hugh Haycox. He's going to go side by side, pushes Lepisto off, and now who does that go through? That's Timothy Reed.
Wow, Reed was there to pick up the pieces extremely fast. Lepisto probably not happy with that one as he got absolutely shoved off the course. Haycox still will stay in second place, and he looks slow. I wonder if he got some damage out of that. He's going to get passed by Mascara as well, but Timothy Reed on the first lap will lead the way.
Hugh Haycock's very slow on the inside. He's going to have to drop in. He's going to give the position back to Antti Lepisto possibly. That might be why he's going back there, to possibly get that position back. But he's back up to speed now. Let's see whether he backs off and lets Lepisto by.
Yeah, so this will be telling here if he lets Lepisto through. Once that is the case, if he picks it back up, then maybe the car is in good enough condition. Yeah, he looks like he is slowing up a little and just allowing Lepisto the chance to. That is good sportsmanship. That is great stuff there from Hugh Haycock. So just redresses the position. However, Hugh goes from second all the way down to 5th because of that. So both he and Antti are going to have to climb their way back through. Boy, you can see a good battle there in front of him as that was Molitor on Mascara, but Javi holds that second place.
Now here's the thing, if usually you're thankful to the driver for making that apology, but if someone runs you off the road like that, sometimes you don't want to be near them. So sometimes it's better if they stay off the road from you just a little bit so you can recover and get your head underneath you. But now Antti Lepisto has Hugh Haycox right behind him again, so it's going to be interesting to see how those two fare against each other as we continue.
You can see the Nissan still very, very close together as well. A lot closer than a lot of the GTO cars, which have spread apart slightly. Lepisto back on the horse and going to try and see if he can catch Demolitor to get into third place. The more Brian fights, though, the easier that's going to be. He's been ducking and diving to try to show himself in the mirrors of the 21. Just hasn't been able to get the pass yet.
Well, I think he definitely has a little bit of pace on Mascara as Timothy Reed out to 2.5 seconds of a lead. I don't think Timothy was expecting this gift to come to him, but he's absolutely making the most of it, running away here with the lead of this race at the moment.
It's going to have a nice slipstream. Man, Reed just huge lead there as we look on the cameras down into turn 1, and Molitor not quite close enough this time. Look behind them. It's round 2 between Haycox and Lepisto.
Absolutely. Haycox trying to size up Lepisto. Lepisto a little bit loose through turn 3. That's Haycox a little bit tight through 3, but look at this. Both of these battles are going to have a braking battle down into turn 5.
Yep, looks like Molitor is also going to look to the inside as we continue to ride on board here with Hugh. Way deep for Brian, little too deep. Nope, he's going to make the corner, and so will Hugh Haycox. Switch around second and third and fourth and fifth.
Absolutely great battling from these GTPs, and this is just getting started in the GTOs. Yuko Lesko has about a second lead over Saishik, who has a second and a half over Javier Del Olmo. That's about half a second separating himself with Ian Haycox and Reed Miller and Timothy Vaughn and Jamie Hamill-Smith. So the GTOs running pretty much line and trail at the moment, but a battle here for 8th position. Franco Scurry, Matthias Hobdal, and Doug Cloud. Look at that. That's Hideki Koivisto going backwards.
No, it's Cloud, actually. He was getting edged out by Franco Scurry. He's one of our onboards here today, so let's see if we can maybe check in and see what kind of mood Doug is in as he flies down the Moraine sweep. Hovdal in front of him. He's got a very good toe.
Oh, no! Sorry,
Scurry.
Mascara's around. Mascara's around, and he's collected Antti Lepisto.
As we got a battle on screen, and there we go over to the incident. And, man, Antti Lepisto can't seem to catch a break this time. Mascara back out on the track, and both of them with huge damage on the cars.
Absolutely. So as they recover, the battle for P9 in the GTOs continues between Doug Cloud and Franco Scurry. Cloud looking a lot better in this battle right now. Franco Scurry a little bit rustly around the track. He's going wide, he's going deep. He's really trying to hang on to this position, but Doug's trying to regain those spots that he lost. And Hugh Haycox is on a problem now.
Wow. And that was out of turn one. Must have maybe just slipped up. I don't see a whole lot of damage on the car, so I think he's going to be okay. That's going to make it even more difficult to catch Timothy Reed if he can. We've seen him be very fast, but now he's off the course once again. Once he gets it going, he got a rough shove from Carlos Fonseca to cause that one.
Speaking of battles, Dustin Heroder just made the pass on Mick Claridge there, and it was a pretty rude one as Aaron Humphrey goes around. That was a self-spin as well. He's getting back going again, but oh my goodness, extremely intense race for these GTPs up at the front of the field. A lot of people having problems, but now the top three, Timothy Reed, Brian Molitor, and Dustin Heroder. I don't think we've ever seen these three in these positions before.
Just another ho-hum first 10 minutes of Camel GT racing. There you see the 11 of Heroder up those 7 spots into the podium position. McClarridge has been taking advantage as well. He's into 4th. But we've seen survival is going to be a big key part of today. He's got Ove Trangrade chasing behind him. Big gap up to Timothy Reed, now up to 4.3 seconds because of all that. I think it's settled down. I think we got a chance. Let's take a look at replays. Not sure if the incident is up first or maybe the pass that we were kind of watching there for 9th in the GTOs. Let's see what we've got. This is the incident in the prototypes. And again, Lepisto, innocent victim in this.
Yeah, Mascara just got loose on braking, unfortunately, and Lepisto gets sent around. There was another driver involved in that who I cannot pinned down at the moment, but here's Mascara.
Self-inflicted there,
but no damage for Hugh at all. He absolutely stayed out of the wall
initially, but remember, he got shoved off. And then this is the incident that we just missed just now. Sintez Galindo and 2 other cars. I think Fonseca was involved in that, it looked like.
Laust Olsen.
Wow, that's some pretty hefty names in there. They're starting to drop like flies.
So this was nose-to-tail contact there. You could see, oh my goodness, that was...
Olsen evaded it barely. Wow, he split the middle. He was in the middle of the eye of the storm and somehow survived the hurricane. So
here we go.
Yeah, watch this.
Oh my
Car goes by, wheel in the grass. Did he get out of it? Did he stay straight? Yes, he did. Okay, so he didn't get away completely without trouble, but the car's whole.
So Lepisto in the pits. Sabria Sanchez wrecking out. He has just towed. So a lot of our big names, Joe, are in the GTPs have raced themselves out of contention as we continue to watch intense battles through the mid-pack.
So this is going to be another one of those seasons, it seems, side by side coming off the final corner. That's Snyder rebuffing Jack Wells. This is for 9th position. Behind them, Yuri Geisen, I think, was he one of the ones that failed to qualify in this race? No, he did set a time, and he's trying to move his way forward. Jack and Yuri are up 9 and 7 positions, respectively.
Absolutely. So, you know, I said this was not a survival race, but has turned into one. As we took a little bit of a break from the absolute insanity last week as everyone was trying to tackle a new course. The course was the big nemesis. Well, this time by, everyone else on track is your nemesis. You're just trying to stay alive right now.
Isaac Snyder lost a spot. Now he's going to get it right back on the way down into turn 5. Both of them just weaving around, trying to position themselves. And unfortunately for Geisen, all the weaving, lost his brake marker. He spun out, and he's thankfully going to be narrowly avoided by Laust Olsen. And we've had contact just ahead of them. Isaac Snyder is off the course. He got roughed up, but looks like by Jack Wells.
You know, I said this was going to be a bull ring for the Audis. I did not expect it to be a bull ring for the Nissans.
Yeah, jeez. Okay, well, we've come back to Leskala, who is leading and has had perhaps the most calm race of anybody out here at the front of the GTOs. It's 2.8 seconds over Saisheg. He's a newcomer this season. Fabian has shown himself to have some decent speed. He's been fighting for podiums. And right now, he's going to need a whole lot more pace, though, if he wants to get a win out of the hands of the famous Finn.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm keeping my eyes on our GTP leaders who are in the middle of the GTO pack right now as we're watching. Looks like Keith Haycock has had another problem.
This was down into Canada corner. This was another self-spin. Dipped his wheels into the grass. It looks like he'll get back on track in 17th. He must be all kinds of ruffled for him to make this many mistakes.
Well, P3 in the GTPs might be changing hands soon. Mick Claridge on the back of Dustin Hiroder, and this is going into turn 3. Mick just keeping his left tires out of the grass there. They've got Antti Lepisto trying to recover. Mick Claridge gets a little bit loose. This is going to hold up Lepisto, who's not going to really want to challenge Mick, but he's going to stick his nose in. That was dangerous stuff between himself and Doug Cloud and Mick Claridge. Here we go. Once again, Mick Claridge late on the brakes. Dustin Hiroder being cautious next to Franco Scurry. These are all of our mid-runners in the GTOs.
Yeah, very, very savvy pick. I don't know if Mick meant to do that. I think he tried to leave room, but there just wasn't 3 wide all around that straight there. At that time, he's going to go past Franco Scurry. And they all carry on, but Ove Trangrade is loving this because all that time lost to the traffic has meant he is now a factor for this fight for third.
So Lepisto's repaired his car. He's actually probably faster than Mick right now, but it's not going to matter because he's a lap down and Mick's not going to move over for him. So he's going to have to find his way by and do so respectfully. Otherwise, he's going to get a talking to in the Discord chat later on today.
They are really in the thick of the traffic now. This is not going to be fun for these guys. Ian Haycock's trying to stay out of the way of them, and that was Reed Miller ahead of Mick Claridge, just narrowly avoiding being run into. Up and over Bill Mitchell. Ben Lepisto times it perfect. He saw that one coming, and he just pulled a dummy on him.
Fantastic move from Lepisto to get by. Oh, a little bit of contact there with Ian Haycock, and here comes Mick Claridge to get by again. And these guys are not battling for position, by the way. Antti Lepisto is a lap down.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shame there because he had just, as you said, had that car repaired. And Ian Haycock's, in the meantime, still looking to try and catch up to Reed Miller. This is for 4th and out of turn 1. He's not going to quite have the exit he needs.
This is absolutely wild right now as you're right on board with Ian Haycock. He's got a battle for 6th position in the GTPs tucked in behind him. Diego Mastretta, Chris Jonke, Jack Wells, Renato Postigo. They're all going to try and go by, try and snake by single file. Look at them go.
Well, this modified sim rig that Ian runs, racing with one leg, obviously. And he's going to have to try and attack hard on Reed Miller, who's going to get scared off the line by some of the GTPs. Postigo manages to make his way through, and Ian is there. He sticks his nose in, but there's no room at the end.
No, they've got Javier Delamo up ahead. Javier is in 3rd position right now, so this is the battle for 3rd now between these 3 drivers in the GTOs.
Coming down into the braking for turn 8. They've got Lyle Stolson coming up behind them, currently sitting in 10th. He's going to go around the outside while they still don't have too many marbles and dirt off the racing line. Goes by the likes of Del Olmo. Surprised that Javier has been this far off the pace today. It seems like this track doesn't suit him as well as some previously have.
No, it seems like a lot of the GTOs are struggling today, which is interesting because the weather's not really that much of a factor. It's very similar to what it was in qualifying. So I'm not sure what is going on with these front-running GTOs. It just seems like Yuka Leskola definitely has the name of the game on them. Fabian Seichik also, we should mention, because he has not been quiet. He's up there in the 2nd position of only 4 seconds behind Yuka Leskola.
Yeah, been fantastic for that number 3, no doubt, as we are watching the battle just ahead of him. This is between Jack Wells and Renato Postigo. Renato's going to try it down into turn 1, but gets denied, chopping down to the apex as Jack Wells retains 8th.
Ooh, wow, a little bit of a weaving there. I don't know, trying to get the marbles off the tires possibly for the 28, but gets itself back going again. But now a little bit of a duck to the inside, trying to break the draft a little bit for that 28. The 28 of Jack Wells feels very, very much under threat from Postigo.
Postigo's got the better speed, and that's an early lift out of Jack Wells. He's not going to fight it. I think that's the wise move based on what we've seen so far in the Nissans this race. It's just, you know what, if someone's got to run, why try and risk the car at this stage?
A nice side-by-side battle going on for 10th of the GTOs. Joram van Hixie and Doug Cloud have been side-by-side for the last 4 corners, and still going side-by-side as Aaron Humphreys goes off track. He's going to get himself back going. That was not Aaron Humphreys, rather that was a different GTP, but these 3, Franco Scurry, Joram van Hixie, Doug Cloud, and now Hideki Koivisto, have been in this battle for a while. That's, Franco Scurry going a little bit wide. That's going to allow van Hixie to go through. Can Doug Cloud follow through? No, he has to back off.
It was Humphrey and Plumley we're hearing that was involved in that wreck. So Scurry not able to keep Joram behind him. He settles into 10th position. Doug Cloud still with Hideki Koivisto, making it now a 4-car fight. If you haven't seen Franco Scurry's rig, by the way, that's another one that shows up on Where Is Mick? Not this most recent episode, but the prior one. We get to have a look at his racing room. It would make some of the top professionals jealous, I think. It is an incredible collection.
Investment in enjoyment. Absolutely.
Yes.
Is the way things are for Franco Scurry. Ciao to Franco today. Not having the race that he would like per se, but still having a good time battling with all these GTOs. Now, GTP battle here between the 22 of Matt Malone and the 26 of Isaac Snyder. Nice to see Matt back in the series. He hasn't been racing around here for a while, and he's been quite busy with real-life stuff, being a father and all. Gets a little bit tight through 3, and that's going to push him to the inside. He's going to let Snyder go by.
And on screen, that was Mastretta and Yankee that we saw as well. So Chris Yankee got that spot. But back here with the pair down into turn 5, Malone can't retain him. So Isaac is back into 12th. Matt used to be a regular here, but is back again as Isaac has long been a presence for quite a while. Meanwhile, in the 27 car of Mastretta, just ahead of Postigo. Postigo's up 10. Not a hardest charger, though. That belongs to Wells behind him in the 28, up 10 positions currently. There you see him on screen right now. And actually not that far behind these guys. He could maybe get a couple more.
No, absolutely. This is all kind of a big battle for 6th position. The same battle that's been going on for a while, and they've got about half a lap until they catch back up to the GTOs. So my guess is it's going to be this next time through the GTOs, and they should be free and clear for the rest of the race. So it's only going to be 2 times through the GTOs for the GTP leaders.
Oh, Hugh Haycox went off again. He just made a position up past Matt Malone. I wonder if there is some sort of damage. Oh, and he's towed. Hugh Haycox has decided that.
That's an incident limit, possibly?
Could be. We'll only find out until after the checkered flag. So if that's the case, it means he's already done a drive-through and kept carrying on and still hit it. No, that looks like he just pulled off and had enough incidents and decided it's not worth just trying to carry on. Meanwhile, here we've got the number 14 on
our
your
leader,
screen.
Timothy Reed, yeah.
Yep. 6
seconds ahead of Brian Molitor and continuing to pull that gap. Timothy, I believe, also, yes, absolutely, by a handy margin, has the fastest lap. By nearly a second, Joe, Timothy Reed has the fastest lap.
It's got to be really hard, and I imagine this is why they don't do fastest lap bonus in this series. It's got to be hard to try and snag that once the traffic has come into effect, because it's rare that you're going to have a completely clean lap without running into traffic. The 5 car of Hovdahl, who is pushing the limits to keep Timothy Vaughn behind him, really drags the tires through the dirt out of 1 there.
We talk about the rally heritage of the Audi 90 GTO, and showing it off there was Hovdahl. He's still able to maintain speed through 3 and keep pressing ahead of Timothy Vaughn as they go through the Marine sweep and down to 5.
Yeah, it still has that track position. Again, this is for just outside the top 5 that we're seeing here. Jamie Hamill-Smith also behind them in the number 32. Do appreciate slightly different schemes from what we've seen in the past out of Jamie, and very beautiful color combo.
It's not lost on me that a lot of the GTPs, now that they're in clear air away from the GTOs, just ran their personal best laps. Now the battle for 7th and 8th positions between Postigo and Mastretta still tight. Oh no! Postigo spins it coming out at 1.
thankfully does not bounce right back into the racing line, but look at the damage on driver's left there. It is significant. He's going to be slow, no doubt, at least in a straight line, if not also in most of the corners on top of things. So Olsen and Galindo, Sintez Galindo will be promoted up to 9th and 10th respectively now. But it's still a long ways back from probably where they would like to be. Sintez Galindo is going to need much better results than this to make himself a 3-time champion. It's looking like this might be the season where his run stops.
Taking a look now, P2 in the GTPs. Dustin Herroder has been ahead of Brian Moltor for, actually, I believe he just recently got past Moltor, because I believe Moltor used to be in second. So Herroder definitely doing his best.
It was this lap.
Yeah, absolutely. So Herroder definitely trying to do his best to get his best position. Now, Timothy Reed definitely has the pace on these two guys. Last lap it was not better for Timothy Reed, but over the last dozen laps, he's definitely been faster. So Herroder doing a good job to get that second position. He's got to start walking away from Moltor.
And he's trying to do that right now. Molitor doesn't look close enough with the slipstream here. I did find that pass. It was down into turn 5 last lap around, so almost exactly a lap ago at this stage. Let's see if we're going to be trying to watch that. No, it looks like we're sticking with it for now. Something happened to Matt Malone, though?
Yeah, possibly something happened to Matt Malone. He definitely lost a lot of time, about 10 seconds to Yuri Geisen, so unfortunately dropping back. I can also report the battle for P10 in the GTOs is still as frantic as ever for those drivers as we continue to watch this battle between Moltor and Herroder as Claridge starts to come into the picture.
Thought maybe he was close enough. Molitor could not get to him in the end. And I think we were looking at digging up that pass replay. Let's see if that has been spooled up or not. Well, hopefully we still have a chance. Nope, looks like we unfortunately do not have that one available. So apologies to Dustin. I can tell you, great job on it, though. It certainly was a nice, smooth one into turn 5.
Sorry, Franco Scurry's off, and Timothy Reed's trying to get by this battle of P10 of the GTOs right now, and he had to get held up a lot right there as Yurov von Hixie actually dove to the inside to let Reed go by, because Reed was coming with a head of steam, but that put him offline, and Franco's able to get right back by.
Oh, he's on the outside through Bill Mitchell Bend and somehow goes too wide through there and lives to tell the tale. That is not easy. Cloud absolutely chucking it down into the final corner and has to weave to avoid running into the back of Yoram in the 29. Meanwhile, they fly up the front stretch, all 4 of them within a line. There's going to be a lot of slipstreaming, and it looks like the 29 is going to get the best of it up to the outside of turn 1 on Scurry, but he defends.
And here comes P2 battle between Dustin Herroder and Brian Moltor. They're going to have to try and go by this battle of the GTOs.
34 is off. That's Coy Visto, unfortunately. Scurry showing some damage on the left-hand side of that Audi. Here's a move from Doug Cloud, maybe. He's going to get back in line as he allows one of our GTPs to go past. That was Mick Claridge. And it gets another dip of the slipstream. Cloud maybe on the pass into turn 5. He's very, very deep. Block up for Scurry. And the pass is done for Cloud. That's P10.
Yeah, but this is definitely not over as they've got the battle for P5 going by, or rather, that's just Obe Trangrade by himself, and Antti Lapisto still trying to recover his lost lap. So, man, and this is going to break up this GTO battle for sure. So this is what happens when the GTPs come through, and why the GTOs battle so frantically. But Franco Scurry goes too deep, and that's going to allow Doug Cloud to go around him.
It's been a great race for Doug here. Yeah, he's not up in the higher positions right now, but some fantastic opportunistic moves there as we check out his onboard once again down towards the kink.
That is a very minimalist setup, but I absolutely love it. Just what he needs. Nothing fancy, just what he needs to get the mount clamped to that 80-20, and just enough to get the shifter clamped as well.
Yep, if you got that VR set, that's really all you need. And They come out of Canada corner once again, down to the final 15 minutes of this race now. It is still Timothy Reed leading the GTPs and Leskala leading the GTOs, and Hamill Smith has gone a little wide out in the final corner.
So as he's recovering, he's actually going to, oh my goodness.
Oh, and I was just going to check to see. Yeah, he's got a red, a black and orange flag. I'm assuming that was before he hit that wall the second time, because he had no reason to be trying to duck into the pits so drastically. Meanwhile, for third in the GTOs, Del Olmo is going to have to worry about slipping off the podium here because Reed Miller is catching.
Reed Miller, Ian Haycock, Matthias Hovdahl. All of them, as well as Timothy Vaughn in 7th. They're all under 2.5 seconds here, and they've got a big battle in the GTPs going by them as well. This is going to make things very interesting for all of these battles involved.
Claridge, though he has raced from time to time in the Camel Series, is not a regular like you see over in the Lotus 49s usually.
Ian Haycock's cutting off Ove Trangre, trying to get to the normal racing line so that he didn't have to go take the inside through this corner. It worked out for him, but unfortunately that held up Trangre quite a bit.
That it did, and he needed that right then because Mick just went wide into turn 8, but didn't lose that much because of Ove having to watch out for the traffic. But I was saying, Mick felt like he's had to adapt to the dynamic in this series quite a bit in the 2 races he's run. My goodness, who was that just about going into the dirt there? That was Yonke in the 13, just flirting with the edges of the track.
And side by side between Hovdahl and Haycock as they go into it, battling for 5th in the GTOs. They're going to go side by side on the exit. Hovdahl getting a little bit loose on the exit of the corner. They're holding up Diego Mastretta, who had Yonke within his sights, but has now lost 3 seconds to him.
Heavy right foot for Matthias Hovdahl trying to hold on to the car.
Here comes Wells.
There goes Ian Haycox, though. He goes completely off course. He'll return without losing too much other than positions and a little pride.
And Joran von Hixie's had a problem. He's now off in the gravel. This was just outbraking himself, unfortunately, going into Canada corner. So he's back going once again, but slowly. That takes him out of the battle for the 9th position between Cloud, well, now 8th between Cloud, Scurry, and Coivisto. And here's another battle on screen. This is Mick Claridge trying to catch up to Trangre, but they've got Antti Lepisto separating them.
Actually, wasn't Trangre was behind him, I'm pretty certain.
Yes.
So he must have just made that pass recently. Yeah, that was on the front stretch. Just had a good run on him. I think Mick is dealing with a little straight line disadvantage. I wonder if he's either got too much wing or is bonked up the car somewhere.
Actually, I think Mick was just held up on the exit of the final corner by Fabian Seischig, who is also just trying to race his own race out there alone. So that possibly could have caused that to happen. But Claridge still has Lepisto between himself and Trangrade, and he's going to have a lot of work to do to catch back up to Trangrade and take away that 4th position.
Really is. So,
and Joe, they're through with 11 minutes to go. It's going to be hard pressed to see whether or not they get back into the GTOs by the time this race is over. It's going to be close.
Yeah, and they do not want to be running across them again. They want to have as much clear track as possible. So Timothy Reed currently up at the top step in the number 14. Oh man, things still remaining very tight here, coming down into the final corner as Sintez Galindo, Jack Wells, and Mastretta are doing their best to give us a show. Are we going to go 3 wide? No, Sintez Galindo decides to stay behind, watching. Mastretta is to the inside, Wells to the outside, coming into turn 1. Way too shallow of an entry for the 27. He's going to lose out to the 28 car.
Yeah, Wells was putting a pinch on Mastretta, and Mastretta came on the radio and said something, I think something to the tune of, please go. Oh, Mick Claridge has lost another position. He's lost the position to Chris Yonke, so I think you're right, Joe. He might have a problem.
Yeah, trying to...
I'm not seeing anything obvious.
Hit about 170.
Oh. And Mastretta just lost a position to Galindo and Wells. So a lot of developments happening here with the GTPs on their own.
Well, they've been pretty wild for much of the race, so it's not too shocking. We watch from the roof of Laust Olsen to Mistretta and Sintez Galindo. This is for 8th, 9th, and 10th with 9 minutes left on the clock. So there's still plenty for the complexion to change in this race. Let's watch from this onboard through the kink here. Fearsome corner and flat out in these high downforce prototypes.
Flat out no drama whatsoever for these drivers. So Laust Olsen definitely closing into the back of Mistretta. He's trying to recover from that evasion he took through turn 1 that lost him about 6 positions, and it's actually a little deceptively hard to pass around here for these GTPs because of how much of this lap that they spend on full throttle.
But you see him shouting. He is working hard on this one. He's worked up and is going to try to see if he can get a little higher into these top 10. Mistretta still in front of him by 0.4 of a second, but very good on the brakes for the yellow and blue of Laust Olsen.
Personal best for Molitor, Yankee, and Wells, as they're all on their own, just in the open right now. No GTOs to worry about. Realistically, the only GTO traffic that exists is the battle for third, as we see Olsen, actually, he's going to make a move now on Mistretta, looking to the inside. Can he get it done? Battle of the late breakers. Laust Olsen sticks it to the apex, but Mistretta gets a good run around the outside. They're going to go side by side under the Corvette bridge.
Into turn 6, it's hard to hold on around the outside of there, and Mistretta finds that out. He has to acquiesce as Laust is now up into 9th position.
Good work from Laust. Now he's got Sintez Galindo in his sights. I know he's got pace on Galindo according to the timing charts, so let's see whether or not he can close it down in the last 7.5 minutes.
This might not have been that exciting for the overall lead of the race since the start in either of the classes, but the rest of the field has really been something to behold here today at Road America as the sun continues to set. It's about 5:30 p.m. virtual standard time at the start of October in Wisconsin. Probably much better temperatures here in the virtual world than there would be in the real world up there. Yeah, 81 Fahrenheit track temperature. I'm pretty sure it's a little bit chillier.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I'm looking at the battle for P3 in the GTOs, and all it would take is somebody to hold up Javier Del Olmo just a little bit for this battle for P3 in the GTOs to absolutely close down and become a 4-car fight again. Each of those positions is separated by just a little bit, just around a second. And all it would take is just one GTP to hold up the lead of that pack for this battle to erupt again. 6.5 minutes to go. I'm looking at our leader now, and he's about a quarter of a lap, about half of a lap behind these GTO leaders. He might get to them by the end of this race, but it's going to be close.
Del Olmo, our current reigning champion, but sits in 4th position this season in points right now. Leskala, with his win last week, promoted himself up to the top despite having a bad day at Monza for the very first round. So they come out of turn 1 here. Del Olmo in the 9 machine, the orange and white that you can see. Miller is looking ever closer. Last lap, 2:05.7 for Del Olmo, 2:05.9 for Miller. So he did drop a little bit actually for Reed.
Yeah, about a 2:05.4 from Hovdahl, so he's closing in on Miller as well. So keeping our eyes on that as they're going to get passed by Matt Malone, who just trying to reacclimate himself to this vehicle. It's not an easy thing to do, and this track has really seemed to get the best of a lot of drivers today, which is a little bit of a surprise, Joe, because this track is a fairly known entity, and not a lot with these cars changed in the latest build of iRacing.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised myself. I would have thought that we'd have fewer issues out there, but maybe the familiarity is what's breeding a bit of aggression. That we're seeing some riskier moves, and Claridge loses another one to Wells, by the way. Don't need to go to it, but pretty sure it is a straight line speed issue for the number 7 car.
Now, for the record, I'm not blaming Malone. He has been out of the series for a while, but I'm just surprised at the series regulars who've been struggling a lot recently. So, just a little bit of a surprise for all the regulars to be having so much trouble on this track right now.
That really does give a good sense of the speed difference there down the main straight.
Ooh, look at this.
Down Kettle Bottoms, rather. And yeah, that was a lot closer than we've seen in the past there. But it's not Miller on Del Olmo like we thought. Instead, it is now Hovdal trying to challenge Miller.
Absolutely. It looks like Isaac Snyder's had a technical issue with his gear. He's now reset back to the pits, but absolutely Hovdal on the back of Miller for that 4th position. I said that he was closing, and he is absolutely closing on Reed Miller, trying to get back past Reed Miller, but by doing so, he's pushing Reed Miller to close the gap on Javier Del Olmo. 3.5 minutes now, and with them doing 2-minute laps, this is the penultimate lap for these drivers.
Opportunities are dwindling away. It's going to have to do something soon as they come onto the Moraine sweep. That was a pretty good exit there from Hovdal. Miller will give him that slipstream, but I don't think it's a long enough straight here on the braking down into turn 5.
Yeah, and I can also report there's Mick Claridge off, unfortunately, in the last corner. This one looks like it was, he was ushered off a little bit by Joran van Hicks. He was trying to get back to the line after being pushed wide by a GTP, but back and recovered again. As we're looking at P2, this is Heroder on, Moltor on Heroder once again. So all the battles that took a little bit of a break for the last couple minutes, they're coming back together as they come into the final laps of those races.
Wonder if Brian regrouped and decided, give it another hard charge later on once I've got myself collected. As we look at the 11 there coming down into the hurry downs, going past Ian Haycox. And where is Reed? Yeah, Reed should get the white flag this time by, I think. It's going to be tight, actually.
Yeah, Timothy Reed, no, he will not. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be definitely tight. I have one set of race statistics that's predicting 1 more lap, 1 more set that's predicting 2 laps. So it's going to be tight. 2 minutes flat now. Timothy Reed is doing 1:48.56 last time around. So he heads towards the line. 1 minute 50. I'm looking for the flag man. White flag is waving. So the white flag is waving. That's going to be Timothy Reed on the final lap.
Yeah, just barely. His quickest of 47.4 maybe would have gotten him close, but he was about a second shy. Jack Wells just lost a spot there coming out of Canada corner to Sintez Galindo. Looks like he was recovering from some sort of off, so I'm assuming things went awry.
Yeah, it was actually a little bit of contact between the two of them, so unfortunately Wells dropping back behind Sintez Galindo. But look at this, Laust Olsen under pressure from Mastretta. He's not going to want to give this position up, but I don't know if he's going to have a choice. Mastretta to the inside. It's going to be hard for Laust to hold this position. He's going to go late on the brakes and dive it deep into the corner. Can he hang on to on the exit? Yes.
All right, Laust Olsen into P8 once again, but he's going to have to fight hard here on this last lap to keep hold of it. Just kicking up the dirt out of turn 3. They go by Franco Scurry.
And here's another battle on screen. This is between Hovdal and Vaughn, separated by Brian Molitor. Brian Molitor and Heroder came up upon this battle between Vaughn and Hovdal, and that's actually going to hold up Heroder up ahead behind Reed Miller. So Vaughn and Hovdal were trying to catch up to Reed Miller and Javier Del Olmo, but unfortunately got separated by some GTPs.
Through the carousel for the final time between them. And Trangarade maybe going around the outside. So many cars
got held up.
Similar paint
and so
schemes.
did Molitor. Trangarade's off!
Oh, right at the end of this one. He should be able to limp home. But speaking of limping home, it is more like a cruise home for the 14. And he's going to give us both leaders taking the victory at the same time. Timothy Reed wins in prototypes with GTOs going to Yuko Leskala here at Road America. Clinical wins from the pair of them.
Yeah, we didn't talk about them much at all today, but they took home wins handily. Timothy Reed was able to take that opportunity to dive in between our two leaders at the beginning of the race, Antti Lepisto and Hugh Haycox, and he never looked back.
Laust Olsen still ahead of Diego, and out of the final corner, he will stay ahead to hold on to that 8th position. Trying to see if we got any more battles that can come to the line, and I'm not seeing any right
Franco
now.
Scurry and Doug Cloud, but it looks like Doug Cloud's going to take that position, keep that position from Franco Scurry and finish in 8th today.
Well, that will mean that we can head to a short break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ride around the world. I'm Mick Claridge, and I'm going to ride around the world on my bike. My son, he gave me advice at the start of this ride, and he looked at me and just said, "Dad, don't be a moron."
Let me do my animal signal to gain their respect.
How's it going, Sally? Yeah, I'm alright, Mick. How's it going? Worse than that bit in Lord of the Rings where they got into the top and the spiders in the tunnel. I'm just hoping there's a spider at the top of this one to kill me. Freezing.
And I failed. I moroned up the ride.
Welcome back to Road America. We just watched round 3 of the Camel GT series, and Timothy Reed is going to claim the victories after starting on the 2nd row. And, well, he basically just grabbed the lead from the start of the race at the end of lap 1 and never looked back. Part of it helped out by the leaders running into one another. Dustin Heroder was 2nd today from 10th on the grid. Huge pat on the back for that 11 car. Brian Molitor in 3rd as Chris Yonke was just outside the podium. Sintez Galindo, we didn't think he had the pace today for much of it, but well, just keeping it on the track did it well for him. He went up 7 positions to 5th. Jack Wells was P6 and Laust Olsen was 7th. Then it was Diego Mastretta, P8, as Mick Claridge finished in 9th. Yuri Giesen rounds out your top 10. Fonseca didn't manage to get a lap in. He went from 22nd to 11th. Matt Malone, P12, was the last one on the lead lap. Ove Trangrade wrecking right at the end. Apparently he could not limp it home in time. He finished 13th. Aaron Humphrey was 14th and Antti Lepisto 15th, followed by Isaac Snyder. DNS for Postigo, Hugh Haycox, Robert Plumley, Jungbluth, Mosquera, and Sanchez.
The GTOs fared a little bit better today, with as far as the DNFs are concerned, with Jukka Leskala taking home a commanding win over Fabian Seischig, who took away 2nd position on the first lap and absolutely did not look back. Fabian Seischig gets driver of the day, in my opinion, today for a fantastic 2nd position. Javier Lomo coming home in 3rd, able to hold off the charging Reed Miller. Timothy Vaughn comes home in 5th with Matthias Hovdal in 6th, and Ian Haycox falling afoul of traffic right at the end comes home in 7th position, just ahead of Doug Cloud and Franco Scurry, who are battling pretty much this entire race. Hideki Koivisto fell off the back of them, finishes down in the 10th position, and Joram van Hixie gets pushed wide in a battle with Hovdal late in the race, unfortunately coming home in 11th position. Miro Haraski finished last driver on the lead lap for the GTOs, and then our only driver who had trouble today in the GTOs was Jamie Hamill-Smith, 8 laps down.
And it looks like we've got our winner in the prototypes ready to talk to us. Timothy Reed joins us here. Congratulations, Tim. But talk about the start there. You wound up leading the first lap back to the line, but how high was your heart rate after the 2 C's parted and you suddenly were at the top spot?
Yeah, that was I was not expecting that. It's unfortunate for Antti and Hugh for that to happen. They had way much more pace than I did, so my goal was just to kind of keep 3rd place and race for that. And I was totally surprised when that happened, but I guess it's good for me then. But yeah, it was fun. It was a good race, just managing pace.
Well, you did that very well, and it is especially significant today because we came into this talking about how well it was crazy 2 first rounds with really wild tracks. Road America is, more typical, should be hopefully a little cleaner, and yet the Nissans behind you all kind of just seemed to go a little bit crazy today. Were you aware of any of what was happening behind you?
Yeah, I was watching my relative for the first 10 laps or so, just to see if you or Auntie had damage, where they were, like and try to see what I need to do with my pace to try to maintain the lead. And yeah, I say the replay because I need to watch because I'm not really sure what happened, but everyone was just up and down the order, so it definitely looked chaotic behind me.
Well, that makes you our 3rd different winner of the season, and we'll jump you up the points. I don't think it'll necessarily give you the points lead, but what does this do for you knocking a win out the box so early? Do you look forward to something bigger or just want to keep notching up wins?
Yeah, just a podiums is my goal. So as long as I keep doing that, and it should be a fun season.
Well, again, congratulations on a well-earned victory. Who would you like to thank?
I'd just like to thank everyone out there today. The traffic was actually really good, and so everyone was polite and courteous, making good moves, at least from what I experienced. So just thank everyone there and everyone that promotes the series and puts on a good show. Thank you.
Timothy Reed taking the win in the number 14 today. Behind him, having late race pass up into 7th, Adam is caught up with Laust Olsen.
Yeah, absolutely. Laust, I know that it probably wasn't the finish you were hoping for today, but as far as your luck is concerned, this is probably one of the better races this season so far. But talk to me about dodging that wreck. I mean, it sure seemed like you saw it in your rearview mirrors coming, but my goodness, that had to be a scary moment.
I didn't see the wreck coming, but I saw that that Robert was trying to tuck in behind Ita to get by me also. So I was prepared to having to fight for it, but then suddenly I was heading towards the dirt, and yeah, that was it. So it could have been better, but in the end, I think I got a decent finish out of it anyway. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Up 4 spots from your starting spot of 11th. You talked about consistency towards the end of last season being really important. How do you think you're doing as far as making improvements there?
Not very good. Not all of my incidents have been my own fault, but I'm still making too much errors myself also. So there's still room for improvement. So I'm crossing my fingers and hoping it will go better next time.
Well, next week we head to Fuji International Raceway, one of our newer tracks to race around here in iRacing. What are your thoughts heading into that round?
It's actually a quite fun track. I'm not that fond of the last couple of corners. It's a bit too tight, but apart from that, it's a really fun track. Hope I have a little more speed this time than last time we raced there, but we'll have to see next weekend.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Laus. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Just the community and you guys for the great broadcasts.
All right, thanks for talking to us, Laus. That was Laust Olsen, who finished down in the 7th position. And it looks like we're going to be talking to another one of our drivers here shortly.
I think Aitor Sentes Galindo, our next one that we're going to be having a conversation with, finished 5th in his class, which didn't really expect based on the qualifying that we saw, because that really was a bit of a shocker, how far down the order you were at the beginning. What happened in that case, Aitor?
Well, plenty of stuff today. Well, not only the qualifying, but the incident I had with, I think it was Robert. But so yeah, I didn't expect this P5, but yeah, I still know everybody was having issues, and yeah, I tried to capitalize as much as possible. So yeah, pretty happy with the result. So yeah.
Yeah, I gotta think this is probably a damage limitation kind of situation, being able to climb as far up as you did, and especially considering that incident at the start, you were starting to get into the thick of it, and suddenly you were shoved unceremoniously out into the gravel.
Did I? I don't recall this incident. Did I get pushed off? I have so much happened, Joe. So much happened. I don't know if I got pushed off or not.
Yeah, coming in lap 5, it looks like it happened. You got a shove from behind from Robert Plumley, it appears. You were fighting with Lau Stolson at the time. But yeah, I don't blame you. I don't know how you guys keep track of everything. Here we've got it on our replay right now. Yeah.
Oh, so. Yeah. So that's the incident I was talking about. So yeah, after that, it was like, well, let's try to do the recovery drive and try to do as much as possible. Yes. Well, it was eventful this race. Many cars. I don't know what happened to Hugh and Antti, and all of a sudden everybody was like dead, and just like, whoa. Okay. Well. Probably it's a race to forget for many people, including Chavez, who I feel bad for him. I think I had contact with him, and also to Jack. So I also had contact in the penultimate lap. But yeah, for me it was entertaining. This championship is well, to have fun, and I had plenty today. So yeah.
Well, commiserations that it wasn't more than a fifth, but fantastic job out there for what you did collect, and hopefully we'll see you back at Fuji.
Absolutely. See you. Thanks, guys, and see you next week at Fuji.
Jose Torcentes Galindo. One last one we've got to talk to. Our only GTO driver that's hopped in. Adam's caught up with Doug Cloud.
Absolutely, Doug. You were one of the few drivers in this entire race who was in a battle pretty much from start to finish. Talk to me about how your race was today. Oh, it sounds like you're might be
getting his mic working here. Let's see if we can.
Might be under push to talk for the moment.
Still not hearing him here. We do have picture, so we can see it, Doug, and we're seeing if we'll give him a chance to try and set it up. Looks like, yeah, he's not sure here. Just we'll give it one more second to see if he can get the mic going before we have to abandon this one. And no, he says no. So
looks like you had a good time, Doug, and we'll look forward to talking to you more in the future. That was Doug Cloud, who finished in the 8th position in the GTOs.
At least we got to see him, and it seemed like he had a pretty good time. So we're going to give a big thank you ourselves to the Camel GT community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And also thanks to the team today, Adam, Zach, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. The next race, as we mentioned, Fuji, will be Saturday, October 8th at 1 p.m. Eastern. And be sure to check out our other broadcasts listed here. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.